Steve Spielberg was seeing Little Shop of Horrors the same night. So at intermission, I was talking with Steve, and I turned to Catherine, and I said, "Catherine, tell Steve your favorite picture." And she said, "Attack of the Killer Tomatoes." And I said, "No, no, not that one, Catherine, the other one."
That's probably the first time he hadn't heard E.T.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably, that's incredible.
Anytime.
Okay. If you can summarize, sir, what we were talking about before when it comes to, in your opinion, what direction other than splatter can horror go today?
Well, we're doing a film now called Deathstalker, which is a horror film with a sword and sorcery overtone. Last year we had a film called Forbidden World, which was horror with a science fiction concept. And so what I'm trying to do is blend horror with different concepts. I will probably go back to classical horror within a year or two, because I think the classical horror is the mainstream. But there have been so many of them made in the last few years, I'll stay away at least for a little while.
Okay, could you tell me something about the film who's starring in your current film, Space and...
Oh, yes. Well, tomorrow, should I mention tomorrow? I guess you can cut around on this thing. Should I mention tomorrow or just say I'm shooting it?
I'm shooting it is fine, whatever.
Okay. Well, at the moment, I'm shooting a science fiction film called Space Raiders, although I'm not certain that will be the final title. We're also testing the title Star Pirates, and they're running 50-50, so it may be one of those or it may be something totally different. Vince Edwards plays the lead, and it's a story of an aging space pirate who inadvertently kidnaps a small boy in the midst of a raid and doesn't want the small boy with him in space. But the boy eventually proves himself to the other members of the crew, and a bond develops between the old pirate, played by Vince Edwards, and the young boy, leading to what we hope will be both an action and an emotional climax.
Kind of like a space kidnapped, I guess. Or
A space kidnapped or a space treasure island, but it isn't really an attempt to recreate either of those two stories. It is an original science fiction story.
That's very interesting. One more question. The question, I know what you're going to say, but I've had a lot of fun watching your films. Was it as fun for you as a director to make them?
In general, yes. Directing is a fun experience, it's a creative experience, but it can also sometimes be a somewhat nerve-wracking experience, so the answer would be a qualified yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nelson.
Very good. Anything else?
We need to stay. How about a crazed reporter?
Yeah, that would, yeah, and I go berserk and destroy. That would not be too difficult to play.
That's my point.
Anytime.
Oh, okay. So what was the question?
In general, what do you see the direction of horror films going?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to ask it
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, why don't you ask?
Okay, sir, in general, what do you see the direction of horror films going? What direction is it taking?
Well, at the moment, I think we've reached the peak, or maybe we're just beyond the peak of the splatter films, the throwing gore all over the film. I think they peaked at the box office maybe 2 years ago, and a number of them are still being made, but we're seeing fewer and fewer of them make really big amounts of money. So I think at the moment it's a blending of horror with other genres, but I believe the classical horror film will come back. It's just we've been saturated with it at the moment, but I would say give it 2, 3, 4 years and it will come back. The concept of the horror film seems to be always with us.
And I will be starring in one. And you know what you should do? Lovecraft.
Yes.